In this video, we're going to take a quick look at lighting. We'll discuss some basics to creating nice looks and a few things to avoid when working with lights. First things first, before you place any lights, you're going to want to set up the environment lighting. It's a good idea before you open the custom environment options to get your view into a position where you can see both the sky and the ground. There are many options to adjust with environment settings, with the possibility to create almost endless looks. For the sake of time, we're just going to look at the three main lighting options and a few other color options. In the custom time of day settings are the three light settings to look at. The sunlight should be considered your main source of light. This is the light that is coming from the sun. There are two settings to adjust. Intensity is how bright the light is, and of course light color is the color of the light. Choose a color and intensity that matches the theme of your track. For example, a daytime track would use a lighter, warmer color with a fairly bright intensity, while a night track should have a darker, cooler color with a low intensity. The other two lights to check out here are the sky and ground ambient lights. Think of these lights as the light that is reflected off objects in the world. The ambient light will also light things when they are not in direct sunlight. Regardless of what time of day your track takes place, neither ambient light should ever be too bright. The ambient light is a fairly flat looking light that does not cast shadows. Generally, it creates fairly boring looks on its own, so use the ambient lights to support your sun or moonlight, not to replace it. So that's it for actual lights in the environment settings. But there are a few other colors you can change that will affect the overall look of your lighting. First, still in the time of day settings, is the sky colors. Adjust these three color settings to create a color gradient in the sky. Next, in the weather settings, is fog color. Even though it's not a light, the fog color can heavily influence the look of your environment lighting, especially in outdoor tracks. When choosing colors for all these lights and environment settings, try to use colors that will work well together and support your theme. Colors that contrast each other are great for creating more dynamic looks. If you're not sure about what types of colors to use, do a web search for color combinations. There are many resources online with pages upon pages of good color combinations. Find a combo that'll suit your theme and give it a try. Once your environment lighting is set, you can start placing artificial lights. Where and how you place lights is totally dependent on the track. One thing I would suggest, however, is to give the track a few test runs, and if you have any areas that are too dark, you can fill it in with some place lights. I found that the point light is great for this purpose. Using the lights that cast shadows is also a great way to add visual interest to lighting. If you have a good opportunity to place some directional lights that will cast some cool shadows, go for it. One thing to be aware of when placing lights is that once too many lights interact with each other, there starts to be problems, namely what we call light blocks. You've probably all seen this before. You'll see an area with a bunch of lights, but certain parts will display as blocky chunks without light. With this in mind, be careful if you have an area that needs multiple lights. Remember that any given object already has 2 or 3 environment lights hitting it, and some effects like fire also emit light. If you start to see light blocks, try reducing the number of lights, reducing the light range, or moving them farther apart so that they don't interact as much.